Hey there, Cryptowisers. It's your good friend Milton here with another video for you. Thank you to all of you who watched my last video, which was all about DeFi on the Sui network. Guys, I'm going to be talking a lot about DeFi on the channel in the coming months because it is a big part of my growth strategy for my crypto bank. It's actually amazing how many people I talk to who are invested in crypto that don't use DeFi. There are so many great opportunities in DeFi. Obviously, they all come with a little bit of risk. Mostly coding, smart contract risk, so you want to be careful about which platforms you use. But for me, because I'm not a huge trader, I don't like short-term trading. I'll do it for fun, but I don't want to risk my big bags doing it. But I love to put my investments to work, which is why I like to use DeFi. And I like to diversify over a bunch of different chains and a bunch of different platforms. So even though my past video was on the DeFi on the Sui network, today I'm going to be talking about a DEX on the Astar network, which is a parachain on Polkadot. And that DEX is Arthswap. Now, I'm thrilled to say that Arthswap is now a sponsor of the Cryptowise channel. So as always, full transparency when I talk about any project that is a sponsor of the channel, but I don't allow projects to sponsor the channel if I haven't used them already or if I don't think they are a great project. Now, in the case of Arthswap, I've actually been using it for years now. So it's really exciting for me that they came on board to support Cryptowise. The reason I wanted to talk about them today is because they just launched their version 3 farming pools. So there are lots of great opportunity for amazing yield right now. They just launched these new rewards. So the yield is at its very highest. It's a great time for you to get to know Arthswap, who they are, what they do, and the kind of yields that you can get on their site. But before I go into all of that, of course, do your good friend Milty a favor and smash that like button. Guys, it's the only way that people know that I'm making videos again, so I'd really appreciate it if you smash that like button. And of course, if you're not already subscribed to Cryptowise, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and have the notification bell on so that you know anytime I drop a new video. At the moment, I don't have a regular schedule in terms of when I launch a new video, so just make sure you have that notification bell on and it will let you know anytime I drop a new video. So those of you who have been watching the channel from the very beginning might remember that I actually interviewed the founder of Astar many moons ago, one of my very first interviews with Sota Watanabe. It was during this chat that I really got to like Sota personally and wanted to do as much research on Astar as I could. Clearly, this was a guy who was going places in crypto. And one of the questions that I asked Sota very early on when he launched Astar was, who were the teams building on Astar that I should watch out for? And the very first team that he talked about to me was Arthswap. So I've been watching Arthswap for a very long time. I started using them as a DEX, which is their main function. And then after a while, I started actually providing liquidity to Arthswap. And because they just launched version 3 pools, which I'm pretty excited about, I'm going to be putting in more liquidity. So today, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you exactly the pools that I'm looking at and exactly how you can, if you're interested, add liquidity into Arthswap. Now, one thing I like about Astar is that it's still undervalued in my opinion. They've built a really great tech for their blockchain. They've partnered with some huge partners in Japan. One thing I also like about them is that they are really focused on the Japan market. Obviously, as we know, there are huge blockchain wars going on. There are huge networks like the Sui network, which I talked about on my last video. But of course, there's all the Ethereum layer 2s. There's Ethereum itself. There's Solana. So the competition is huge for blockchains to get, one, developers, and then two, obviously, users. So I think the strategy for Astar of really focusing in on the Japan market is done really well for them. And I think it's going to do really well in this bull run as Japan has really laid the foundation to be one of the top Web3 countries out there, Web3 friendly countries out there. And with the regulation that we're seeing in the US and how unfriendly they've been to crypto, I do think it's going to be other markets leading the charge. And I think Japan could be a huge part of that. That's one of the reasons why I really like Astar. If we look at DeFi Llama here, we can see that the Astar total value locked is over $34 million right now, and that Arthswap is the top DEX on Astar. It has been from the very beginning pretty much. The only dapp that has more liquidity is the liquid staking project Algum on Astar, but in terms of a DEX, Arthswap has always been the number one DEX on Astar. It's got just over $16 million in total value locked. But again, so much room to grow. This is one thing that I look for on all the different blockchains that I use. What's the top DEX? Where is it at versus other DEXs? Does it have the potential to be the top DEX for that chain when the chain grows? Because as we saw in the last bull run, with projects, say, like Trader Joe on Avalanche, no one was using Avalanche. Trader Joe was the top DEX there for a long time. It had not huge liquidity, but was still number one on that chain. And then when Avalanche took off, Trader Joe went crazy. So that's the kind of potential that I see for Arthswap. If Astar grabs a certain amount of market share and grow in this bull run, then I think Arthswap has a great chance of growing with it. Let's jump right in and have a look at these brand new version 3 pools on Arthswap. Later in the video, I'll actually talk about the Arthswap token, and we'll look at the tokenomics and why I think in itself, it's actually a really great small cap hidden gem that I have included in my portfolio. Okay, so as I said, they have recently launched version 3 farming pools here on Arthswap. Previously, they had these version 2 pools, and these are actually the pools that I had liquidity in before. Especially if you watch this channel, you'll know that I am a big fan of the Unique network, and Unique is an NFT parachain on Polkadot. And for a while, they had really great rewards in a pool here, the Astar Unique pool. So I had been adding liquidity to that for a long time. That has since ended in terms of the rewards that you get there. But these version 2 pools are still active, and you can see there's some liquidity in certain ones. But my focus is really on these new pools that they have put out, the version 3, because this is where all the new rewards are, some great APRs here, and also the version 3 is basically exactly like Uniswap version 3. So the version 2 pools are very much like the old Uniswap version 2, and now these updated pools are like Uniswap version 3, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that when I actually show you how to put liquidity in these pools. So let's just go through them right now. You've got the wrapped Astar with the Arthswap token. For that one, you're getting 23% APR on that. There's a lot of liquidity in that one, obviously, because that's the DEX token with the chain token. That would be the equivalent of, say, the ETH Uni pool on Uniswap on Ethereum chain. But I'm actually going to be adding liquidity, a couple of these other pools here. It's the Arthswap and DOT pool, because you're getting 165% APR right now. And obviously those are two tokens that I want to hold, both Arthswap and DOT. So I'm going to put some liquidity in there. And I'm actually also putting liquidity in the Arthswap USDT pool. In that one, you're getting 137% APR, which is obviously really great. And again, because during this cycle, Arthswap is a token that I'm happy to hold, I'm okay with any of the impermanent loss that I might get in that pool in the short term. And I'll talk about impermanent loss some more when I put some liquidity into the pool, just to kind of explain that for anyone out there that still doesn't know what that means. And you've got the Astar DOT pool. That's only getting you 5% APR right now. Obviously, both great tokens. So by all means, you can add liquidity there. I'm not going to be using that pool today. And then they also have a pool for the buy token with the Astar token as well. This is giving you even more APR, 264%. But because buy token is not a token that I hold in my portfolio, I won't be using that pool today. But if it is, if you are someone who does hold the buy token, then obviously you would want to check out this pool, because that's insane APR right now. Okay, so let me walk you through this. If you're someone like me who wants to add liquidity into Arthswap, how exactly do you do that? Well, Astar, like I said, it's a pair chain on the Polkadot network, but they have actually launched a new chain, which is their Astar ZkEVM, which they've built with Polygon, and Arthswap will be launching on that as well. But for now, we're focusing in on the Astar main network, which is their Polkadot parachain. So just make sure you're on that network. And then I've got my wallet attached here. The great thing about Astar is that it's EVM compatible. It's one of the only Polkadot parachains that is EVM compatible. Now, a lot of people obviously will focus in on Moonbeam, which is another EVM compatible parachain on Polkadot. But personally, my own personal opinion, I much prefer Astar as an investment. I think in terms of growth and potential, Moonbeam is already a lot bigger, and I actually think that Astar has a better future. So that's my own personal opinion. Now, if you like Moonbeam and you use Moonbeam, then Astar is actually very similar. It's an EVM compatible blockchain on Polkadot. Therefore, you can use the Metamask wallet, and that's what I use on it. Now, you just need to add the network, the Astar network, onto Metamask. They've made it super easy for you to do this. All you do is go to the Astar portal. So it's portal.astar.network. You just go there. Because I'm already connected, I can't show you this, but you would just go to connect your wallet. You would pick MetaMask if that's the wallet you want to use. And if you already have MetaMask on your browser, then you just click that and it will ask you, do you want to add Star Network to your MetaMask? And it will just do it automatically for you. So very, very simple. You just go to Astar, connect your wallet. It will add the network there for you. Then you'll need some Astar in there for gas fees. But other than that, you are ready to go. Okay, so once you got your MetaMask wallet all set up, you got a little bit of Astar in there to pay the gas fees. And again, Astar is very cheap, very fast. It acts very much like a layer 2 that you might experience on Ethereum, an Arbitrum, or a Polygon, something like that. But of course, it's on Polkadot, so it's actually even cooler. All right, I've created a new wallet here so that I could demonstrate this. And I've added a little bit of Astar to pay for my gas fees, and I've put in some Arthswap there. So the first thing I'm going to do is switch out some of my Arthswap that I have for Polkadot. Because if you're going to add liquidity to any liquidity pool, you need to add both tokens of that pool. So I'll just go in here on Arthswap, obviously, and do this. I'll grab my Arthswap here, and I'm going to want some Polkadot. Okay, so I'm going to go for 15 DOT here. I'm going to turn a bit of my Arthswap into DOT. So like using any DEX like Uniswap, the first thing you do is approve the token that you're going to swap. So I just did that, just got approval. And now I'm going to swap my Arthswap token for 15 DOT. You want to make sure that the price impact is not going to be a lot. That happens if there's very little liquidity in a pool. Then if you're trying to trade in and out of one token, your price impact could be huge. So watch out for that. The other thing is for slippage, you want, very low slippage. And for this, there'll be very low slippage, which is great. So we'll just confirm that. And boom, just like that, I now have some DOT in my wallet. And again, if you're used to using DOT, with Talisman and some of the great DOT wallets, that's cool too, but it is cool when you get to use MetaMask for some of your DOT, because you don't often get to do that. There aren't many places where you can do that. So now that I've got my DOT, the next thing you do is go to the pool. I don't have any positions, as you can see right now, so I'm just going to add new position, and then you'll just select the pair that you want to add. For me, like I said, I want to do Arthswap for this, and DOT, that is the liquidity pool I want to add to. And then what you'll see is that it will select a fee tier for you. So if you're new to adding liquidity, or if you're used to doing it in the old way, this is a new feature that didn't used to exist in the old version of Uniswap when it first started. But now what you do when you add a liquidity is pick a fee tier. Basically, you're saying, this is the amount of fees that I would expect to get back from this pool. And there's different options that you can pick, and it really depends on what you're putting in. So if you're putting 2 stable coins in, there's very little volatility. So for something like that, you would do a very small fee tier. Now for something like Arthswap and DOT, it's actually, because Arthswap is a very low cap coin and you're mixing it with a very high cap coin in DOT, you're probably not going to go to the highest fee tier, which would be 1%. And that's if you have 2 very small cap coins together. So for this, what makes the most sense is the 0.3% fee tier. But the great thing about Arthswap, like Uniswap does in their version 3, is you can change it if you want, but they'll pick the one that makes the most sense to use. And in our case right now, it's the 0.3% tier. Then from there, what I would do is, because I have less DOT here, I'm just going to press the max amount of DOT that I can put into the liquidity pool. So I'm going to be putting all the DOT that I just got into the liquidity pool, which is 15 DOT. And as you see, it will just match the Arthswap that I need to put in. So because I have more Arthswap, it's easier for me to just say, okay, I'll put the max amount of DOT I can put in, and then it will just kind of fill in what I need to do for the rest of it, which is match that with Arthswap token. So that's what it's done there. So for this particular demo, I'm putting about $100 in of each. You're basically matching it. And then again, you need to approve those tokens. So I've gone ahead, I've approved Arthswap token, and I've approved the DOT token. All you got to do is it'll just ask you to sign something in your Metamask when you go to approve those. And now I'm ready to put this liquidity in. But before I do, I want to just show you this, because this is an important aspect of what Arthswap offers here. So one of the reasons I used to add a lot of liquidity to Uniswap in their version 2 because it was easy to do. You really just put the tokens in there and you didn't have to do anything. There was no such thing as a price range. But the problem with that is you could experience very big impermanent loss. And I said that I would explain what impermanent loss is to you. So basically, because I'm putting 2 tokens into this liquidity pool, if one of those tokens goes way down in price, usually what's happening is people are selling out of that token, and therefore they're taking the other token out of the liquidity pool, and then you're left as the liquidity provider with a way more of that token that is actually worth way less now. And so you could lose out on one of these tokens. So for this example, because I'm putting Arthswap token in there and DOT, really the risk is that Arthswap could go way down because it's a low cap token, and then I would lose some of that DOT. So I could come back and all of a sudden that 15 DOT that I put in is now 10 DOT and I have more Arthswap. So that's what they mean by impermanent loss. So know that that is a risk for adding liquidity in. Now, in this case, because I'm bullish on both these tokens, and in the short term at least, if Arthswap goes down and I get more of it, I actually don't mind in this case because I'm pretty bullish on it for this bull cycle. Now, there will be times in the crypto cycle where I will take out my liquidity because I don't want to risk that impermanent loss. Right now, it's actually a time when I'm starting to put in more liquidity to get the rewards back, because at this point in the cycle, I'm not worried too much about the impermanent loss if they are tokens that I believe in and want to own. All right, so a main feature here is that you don't have to put your price range in yourself. That was one of the reasons why I wasn't doing this for a while, because it's kind of annoying to have to figure out the price range that you want your liquidity in. Basically what happens is you put a price range in, and as long as the tokens stay within that price range, then you are active in the pool and you're earning fees. So the tighter the price range that you put, the more fees you'll earn, but the risk is you will quickly go out of range and experience that impermanent loss that I was talking about. But then you could put too big of a range in and you're not actually getting the full benefits of the pool. But what is great about Arthswap is that they use Steer protocol to basically do this automatically for you. So you don't even have to worry about price range, which is great. But if you want the choice, there is the choice here that you could just do it manually for yourself. You'd put the minimum price that you want and the maximum, but I don't deal with any of that. I always use the automatic option if it's there. And Arthswap, one of the reasons I like it is they have that automatic option. So Steer protocol is going to do it for me. It's anticipating that I will get an APR return on this liquidity of 164%, and that's annually. And then if you go into the question mark here, it will give you the breakdown. So it's saying that I'll probably get about 10% in fees, but then I'm getting those boosted rewards from Arthswap to put into this liquidity pool. And that is why I'm getting such a high APR, which is the 150%. So this is why I try to always put liquidity in right at the beginning when these rewards launch, because this APR won't last forever. As more liquidity comes in, then that gets lower and lower because it gets divided by more and more people. So anyway, I'm ready to put my liquidity in here. So I'll just preview it. I'm putting in 119,000 Arthswap, 15 DOT. My fee tier is 0.3. I'm doing the automatic price range through Steer protocol. And then voila, I'm ready to add my liquidity. So once you sign the transaction in your Metamask wallet, then it will just take a couple of seconds for the transaction to go through. And boom, there, just like that, it's done. As I said, Astar is a very fast network, works very much like some of the L2s, and is very, very reasonable in terms of gas price. And it's as easy as that. I've added my liquidity now to that pool. Now, these new pools have just launched. They're so new that you don't actually see them here on Arthswap yet, but they will obviously update that in the coming days. But if you want to check out your pool, you just go here to manage Steer pools on Steer, and that takes you to Steer, and you can see your position there. So as you can see, I've attached my wallet, and if I wanted to withdraw my position, I could do it right here on Steer. And there is my liquidity. Again, 119,000 Arthswap and 15 DOT. So you could come here, you can see what the APR is. It's actually a little bit up from when I put it in there. That's going to fluctuate. These pools are brand new. TVL in this pool is only $3,200. As I told you, I try to get in there early, get that high APR. And then you can just kind of see it all here. I can look at my position here on Steer. There it is. And is it active? Yes. So Steer protocol, there's a lot of these protocols coming out now where it's automatically managing your liquidity, which is great. And the more I get to know Steer, the more I like it. So that's very cool. And then of course, obviously, once Arthswap updates this, you'll be able to see your pool position right here on the site. So again, this is the pool that I added into right there. And these are the 5 version 3 pools that they have going right now. Okay, so those are the new version 3 pools on the Astar mainnet. As I mentioned, they will also be launching some pools on the Astar ZkEVM, which is pretty exciting. And they actually just announced that the voting for those pools is live now. So basically how this works is the way that they decide which pools to put those rewards to, that's up to the community. So if you have some Arthswap, you get to vote on which of the pools you want them to put most of the rewards to. So how they weight the rewards per pool is up to the community. So that voting is happening now. I'm pretty excited to see how it ends up and excited to see what kind of yield you end up getting on these ZkEVM pools that they're going to launch. But before I go, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about Astar, just in case you're not that familiar with them. So like I said, they are a layer 1 blockchain on Polkadot, and now they've created the ZkEVM with Polygon. And I did mention at the beginning of this video some of their really cool partnerships that they've done. They've done a huge one with Sony, where they're actually going to build the blockchain for Sony. And they have one with Samsung. And as you can see, the Astar Japan lab here, like I said, they are very much one of the top blockchains in Japan, very well connected in Japan. And you can see they've got a partnership with Deloitte and a few other major Japanese companies. Now, Astar has launched this Yoki Origins NFT collection. So this is something you might want to check out as well. Now, Arthswap actually does have an NFT in this collection. Basically, all the NFTs from this collection are from some of the dApps building on Astar. Now, that does bring me to one thing that I also wanted to talk about Astar, and that is their dapp staking. This is one of the things they've been doing from the very beginning. And actually, this was the way I got to know Arthswap from the beginning. Because what you do with Astar is, if you have some Astar, if you want to invest in Astar, when you stake it, you actually do what's called dapp staking, where you get to pick the dapp that is building on Astar, and they get rewards for you choosing them as your staking partner, essentially. That's what I've been doing with Arthswap from the very beginning, and they are second in the tier 3 of the dapp staking right now. But this is a great way to support any project that's building on Astar that you like. Is you get some Astar, you stake it, and you choose them as your staking partner, and Astar rewards them for the amount that they have staked on their behalf. Doesn't affect your rewards. You still get your rewards for staking your Astar. It's just basically the way how Astar decides where to allocate their resources to which dApps that have been building on them. And since we're talking Astar, we might as well just have a quick look at their token. This is another project that I am invested in. They had a really great run up early in the year where they got almost up to 20 cents again. It's back down under 10 cents as it got hit hard like many of the alts did in the last couple of days. They're still under $1 billion fully diluted valuation, and they do have a large amount of circulating supply compared to their total supply. So for me, Astar still one of the major projects on Polkadot that I really believe in, and I think right now is a pretty good place to be accumulating them. Now, in one of my upcoming videos, I'm going to do a more in-depth chat about tokenomics and exactly how I analyze tokenomics. What are the numbers I'm looking at? What are the questions I'm asking in terms of a project's tokenomics to decide whether or not to invest in it and the timing in which to invest in that project. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be an upcoming video on Cryptowise. But I hope you enjoyed today's video on Arthswap and how to add liquidity to their new version 3 pools, and also a glimpse into the ZkEVM pools. DeFi, a huge part of how I'm growing my bags during this time right now. This time in the cycle for me is a lot about DeFi, allocating my resources into different DeFi platforms to get that yield, to also qualify for certain airdrops, and to just grow my bags as this bull cycle continues. If you enjoyed this video, do me that favor, smash the like button and make sure you subscribe to Cryptowise. A lot's going to be going on. I'm definitely going to be putting out way more content in the coming weeks, so you're not going to want to miss it. The halving, guys, the Bitcoin halving, it's happening in a few days. This is the time to get serious, to really focus in as much as you can. You got to be 24/7 crypto right now. This next year to 18 months is going to be huge, could be life-changing for all of us. So stay tuned for many more videos to come. All right, guys, until next time, I'm Milton saying over and out.